filler in my lips and nowhere else because it allegedly dissolves, but really it migrates, and you just end up looking puffy.
Yeah.
You got to go for the facelift. It's the full. There's no replacement for a facelift. You wait till it's bad enough, and then you get a facelift.
Why do you think facelifts got a bad rap?
I don't know. My whole family has had one.
I feel like
Every aunt I have, my grandma's, everybody. Some people have had two.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. We're already on.
Oh
my God. We are already on. Welcome to My Safe Word is More. My name is Al Jackson, and I am joined by the lovely, the talented, the incomprehensibly beautiful Mrs. Corinne Kaplan.
Thank you.
How the hell are you?
I haven't had a facelift yet.
There you go.
Listen, I've been severely considering. I've actually contacted a plastic surgeon. No. I feel like my eyelids are droopy.
No.
And get this, my mom has had the surgery once. My dad had it twice. And I totally didn't realize this. And I called my parents and I was like, I'm thinking about like maybe like getting, like I feel like when I put eyeshadow on, like my lids are drooping. My mom's like, oh, it's not time yet. But it will be. Like both Daddy and I have had that surgery. And my mom apparently archaically back in the day, I don't know if this is still the case, but she goes, well, you don't have anyone. And I was like, yeah, that's why I need my eyelids done. How am I going to get somebody?
Touche.
And she was like, you don't understand. Your eyes are sewn shut for the healing process for like 36 hours or something. So she like was completely blind. Like my dad had to like take her to the bathroom and stuff. And she's like, you don't have anybody to help you.
I don't know why, but I find that weirdly hot. I don't know.
Maybe
I need a woman to depend on me. I think that's what it is. Yeah. My only thing with the facelifts, and this is my only concern with you, is you have an obsessive personality. I feel like once you lock in on something, that's what you're going to do. And I feel like once you have one, is that going to be like a tattoo person where you have one next thing, you're just going to be one and done?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty conscious of, look, we were talking before this started about Pamela Anderson, and that's where this came about. So you can actually put as much Botox in your face as you want because all you're doing is freezing the muscles and then it wears off. Filler is not the same situation. Filler can accumulate in your face and cause that weird rubbery, that look.
Yeah.
Facelift, like once you pull that skin back, the skin is gone. You can't even go backwards and get it back.
Yeah.
So it'd be really hard to over facelift yourself. It's a lot easier to over filler yourself.
Oh, do people filler because they're cheaper?
No, well, yeah, they're obviously less invasive, but the whole idea is you're losing fat in your face, and that's what's creating like nasolabial folds. That's what like your cheek pads are sliding down your face and sort of disintegrating.
My cheek pads.
And so you can actually bolster those up, obviously, by putting filler in. But the problem is that the filler can navigate its way anywhere on your face. One of my good friends did like her under eyes. She has like hollowed out eyes.
Right.
It looked fantastic for a year. And then it migrated and she had to have it surgically removed. It doesn't always disintegrate. It doesn't always work out. It migrated.
Were the people on Fox News concerned? They're coming in droves to our daughters. Wait, it migrated. Where'd it go?
So she started getting like lumps in other areas of her face, and it was the filler that it had that's where it ended up. So it looked really good for a full year. And that just sometimes happens. But worse than that is when you do little increments of time, like you're saying, what if you go too hard in the paint with facelift? Right. You wouldn't, because the entire effect is there. It's not gradual. You're not gonna like show up to work the next day looking refreshed. You gonna look like you had a facelift. But that's okay. You're trying to get rid of the wrinkles. But if you do the filler and you just keep puffing your face up to try and like fill in those lines, over a while you can't tell the difference between your face because it's so subtle.
Oh.
And then you're too far gone, and I'm just not messing with that.
You get what I call baseball mitt face.
Yeah.
Where how a baseball glove is thin in some parts and then just puffy where you're supposed to catch the ball, and that's how that face ends up looking. And it's weird when you get too much work done, you don't end up looking younger.
No.
You end up looking like all the other, it's like another race of people.
Yes. They look like bloated lab rats. Yeah.
There we go.
Yes, but when I saw the person I trust to do my lip fillers, who we'll get to actually in a minute, my dermatologist, who's the biggest bitch on the planet, she was
Again, somebody I'm kind of attracted to.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah. I told you she's like Frau Frabissina.
Is she attractive?
No. I mean, she's cute. She looks like Frau Frabissina. I don't know. She looks like she's going to kick your ass, like short hair. I mean, she's sort of petite. But anyways, she said to me, she was like, I said, I just don't want to look, like all these people with filler in their lips. Like, I think it looks, I don't want duck lips. And she goes, anybody who has filler that's good, you don't know they have filler. You're only noticing the bad filler. That's it. That's all you can see. Anybody. So I did this. I asked, I have, a ton of girlfriends, and I started asking, I don't know why I'd never asked this before. I don't have one girlfriend who hasn't been getting filler in their lips. I was the only one, and I had no idea. They were all like, what do you mean you don't get filler? I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Every one of them. And I originally was like, I'm going to get a half a syringe. And they were like, no, that is a huge waste of time. You have to do a full syringe. And you have to pay more if you do a half, because they can't necessarily preserve the second half of that filler if they can't find someone else to give it to. So a full syringe is like $650. A half is $400. And I'm your favorite Jew. I was like, well, it doesn't really make sense to. And then after I did the full syringe, my derm was like, okay, the first week you're going to be like, I made a mistake. Then the second week you're going to be like, I wish I looked like I did the first week, because it goes down a little. And she goes, and then you're going to be calling me to ask for more filler. And so I didn't. It's been about a year. I'll probably do more in a couple months.
By the way, you could definitely be talking about cocaine. 100. It's the same thing. It's like they said do a half, and I was like, you need to do the whole line. Come on, dog. Yeah, let's fatten that up a little bit. It should be like a finger.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're talking about. See, the reason I never felt like you needed any kind of filler or anything like that is, when you look at athletes, obviously a lot of athletes, they're just already baseline more attractive than most people because they don't have any fat, especially on their face. So you're going to get that natural jawline, that natural definition. So it's not, even if they're not attractive, you're like, they kind of just are built like how we see people to be attractive.
But you know what you're missing when you're describing this?
What?
They're tall.
But even female, that's why you ever notice every female MMA fighter also has an OnlyFans page? Because they're all kind of deep. Because when you're in shape, you're 80% there.
Right.
Unless there's something horrific going on with your face, you're going to get rid of the fat. So you're not going to have the puffy chipmunk cheeks. And your body's going to look nice, and you'll be good enough. And you are a person that is super healthy. I've never seen a picture of you where you didn't look like you had any more body fat than any person I've ever met. You're well, always in exquisite shape. My homegirl Jen Wiederstrom, shout out. She was on The Biggest Loser. She was on my talk show Daily Blast Live. Watch it every day, syndicated TV. You got on me yesterday or a couple days ago after we got done with the pod. You were like, you never mentioned your TV show, so that was for you. But she's a person very attractive, but she was also one of those people that she was just attractive because she has a cute face, but also she's always in shape. And you remind me a lot of her. So shout out to you and your health, just a lifetime of healthiness. And I think that's been aided. And this is also something we talked about in my low-lit kitchen, by your diet.
Yes.
And I was shocked to hear. So why don't you tell the people what your diet is for those that don't already know?
Okay. So I would say, let me back it up. So when I was a kid, my parents are extremely healthy. So my brother was born with high cholesterol, and my parents were just like, okay, we're all just going to eat ridiculous for all the time. So I've never had fast food in my entire life, ever.
As of the recording of this podcast?
Yeah. I'll explain. So my mom, obviously, when my brother was born, I was 3.5. So you wouldn't have had fast food by then anyway. And my mom was like, okay.
You didn't grow up in the Midwest. Yeah.
No. So my mom had very special instructions, when I would go on field trips or we had ballet class and there was, a carpool. My mom would hand, she'd be like, give Corinne a box of raisins. She's not to touch anything at any of these fast food places. On field trips, my mom would instruct the teacher she cannot have anything. And she would tell me these fantastical stories. I don't know if that's a word. Fantastical. About there are cockroaches in the burgers. She wanted to scare the shit out of me so I wouldn't touch anything. So my brother and I both were raised on skim milk and margarine, and I had tofu and quinoa. We used to call it quinoa because my mom didn't know how to pronounce it, but I've had that since I was very young. We had to shop at a special health food store, and so my mom just she doesn't mess around, and she also doesn't cook with any oil. It's so much so my aunt
what do you mean doesn't cook with any oil?
She doesn't believe in using oil at all, period. I actually don't either. Yeah, I know. And my mom doesn't really use salt. I use salt. So everything tasted like shit growing up. Like everything tasted awful all the time. No offense, Mom. So like we would have dinner and she would give me like a broiled piece of chicken and there was no salt involved. There was no sauces. And I would be like, I hate this. I don't want to eat it. And she goes, you don't want to eat it? It's going in your lunch tomorrow. So then I would get I always had a bag lunch from kindergarten through 12th grade. And if I didn't eat dinner, it went in my lunch and then I would just throw it out and I just wouldn't eat lunch. It was a terrible system. And it wouldn't occur to me to buy anything at the cafeteria because my mother instilled in me that like, if you didn't make it yourself and you don't know what's in it, it's garbage. So like,
That's not that crazy.
Yeah, I would never be like, oh, I'm just going to throw out this disgusting day-old piece of boiled chicken and go get myself whatever the lunch meal is. I would never do that. I've never touched I was never allowed to have anything at a bake sale. Nothing.
You know the next question.
What?
Would you eat fast food on this podcast?
No.
For us?
I don't think I could.
For your co-host?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you this is the caveat with the fast food. When we had to do like getting to know your sorority sisters, I told my sorority sisters that was a fun fact about me because I don't know anybody else I've ever met that has never touched. Yeah.
I would think you were lying if I didn't know you, but I know you're absolutely telling the truth.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I will say I've had pizza, but we consider fast food anything you would use a drive-through to get.
Right.
So, all right. So my big sister in the sorority, when I was getting hazed, we got really wasted and she went to a drive-through Taco Bell and she ordered some like Nacho Supreme thing. I took like 3 bites of it and threw up everywhere, so I don't count it. Okay. My body was like, absolutely not.
Your body rejected it.
Like instantly. Now, I was also very drunk. But that's the only like piece of fast food that has entered my mouth. Like
you've never had fries from McDonald's?
No.
Will you eat some fries? Would you eat a couple fries?
So I guess one of my big caveats, or not, my like big reasons behind this is when everyone got really, really wasted in college, they would be like, let's go get Burger King, or right. And because I didn't know what it tastes like, I would be like, I have a lean cuisine, so I'm cool. And this is what we're getting to now is that when I started school. My mom, I don't cook. I've never made anything in my life. And my mom was very worried about sending me to college that like I have, I'm averse to a lot of things and I obviously don't eat fast food.
That's a nice way to say 0 life skills.
Yeah, exactly. So she was like, why don't you maybe like start with lean cuisines? Because at least she could think like there's enough protein in there. She doesn't like the sodium content, but it's low calorie, low fat. Whatever. And the other thing when I got to college is I was paranoid. I thought you get there and then someone just hands you 15 pounds. Like you just gain 15 pounds.
I mean, it kind of does happen like that.
Yeah, because people just let themselves eat whatever they want and, drink beer. And so like I was very, very careful. Well, when my parents came to pick me up, I had lost 15 pounds, which my mom says is like the only time that's ever happened in the history of college because I didn't know what to do. So I was eating fat-free popcorn with fat-free cheese on it for dinner sometimes.
Oh
I still do that. Or lean cuisine, but nothing else. And so
what you eat is basically like what you would get for your birthday if you were in a Turkish prison.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, you've been good. It's been 4 years.
Brittany Griner's been living on this for...
Oh, my God. That is... well, I feel like the reason I asked you if you would try McDonald's fries is because I walk it like I talk it, baby.
Yes.
And I am going to try right now a lean cuisine that I texted Corinne earlier about. And I said, please bring a lean cuisine. And she texts back, I can do that. So right now I have in front of me a lean cuisine that I've already heated up. It is it's under favorites for classic macaroni and beef, which is not a classic at all.
No, macaroni and cheese would be the classic.
Exactly.
So I have to tell you, I always
My grandmother made macaroni and ham. It's a classic. It's not.
No. So I want to say that I have been for many years seeking a sponsorship from Lean Cuisine. I am the Jared Fogle of Lean Cuisine, except I don't touch kids. I have
eaten... And hold on really quickly. Is Subway going to address...
Have I thought about touching kids?
No. Is Subway going to address that?
No.
Are they going to address the fact like, hey, our bad bro, sorry we had a molester rolling around middle schools holding up fat pants? Subway.
Holding up something that looks like a dick.
I mean, Jared was a dirtbag.
Yes.
I listened to a couple podcasts. Like, first of all, you've done some shit in your life when there's two-hour podcast about just not your life, like from 0 to 50, like just what you did wrong. You did some shit.
Let me ask you, wouldn't it be better to be fat and molest and no one find out than to get skinny and famous and then everyone finds out. He was better off staying in the shadows.
Yeah, but he didn't have access to the kids.
Well,
that's the thing. When you get famous, I think that's part of fame that like people don't really take into account is once you get famous, you can get, even if you're low level famous, at least one person that's like, whatever you want, I will go get it and place it at your feet, sir. So if you want some McDonald's fries or you want kids from Thailand, which he was doing, all these things can happen for you. So with that said.
Yeah. Okay. So let me set this up a little bit. So
please.
I make Lean Cuisines if I'm home almost every night. I have them for lunch and dinner if I'm working remotely. Like I live on Lean Cuisines. I only like a handful of them. And recently I've gotten into this cauliflower Lean Cuisine lane where they have like sandwiches and pizzas made from cauliflower. And I really like it. There's a chicken piata.
What was the last flavor you had?
The ranch chicken piata, cauliflower. Now, what I didn't want to do for Al was bring him one of the bougie new kinds, okay? Because they only came out with that maybe 2 years ago.
Right.
This is a classic. This is what I lived on in college. Now, I church it up. I put a lot of fat-free Parmesan cheese in. In that case, I would add veggie crumbles. I like to, bolster it a little bit. So most Lean Cuisines are under 350 calories. That one's 270. So you have like 100 calories to play with. You can add some stuff. And I also am an expert at adding like non-caloric things. So like mushrooms are a great addition. They have very few calories, obviously like cooked celery. You don't want to add beans. Those have calories. So we could get into depth on this if you want the Corinne Kaplan diet tips. But what I really want right now is, Al, you tell me. Now, it hasn't been churched up because Al doesn't have fat-free Parmesan like a lunatic.
Because I care about my life and my taste buds and joy. But no, I thought this was going to be. Now, listen, the packaging is pretty basic, but it looks good. It's got the protein in there and the calories, 270. You can work with that. 680 milligrams of sodium, which is enough to kill a rhino.
So I want to say that everybody has this thing with sodium. Now, unless you have high blood pressure, sodium is not, well, I work out and I sweat a ton. I mean, even just sitting in my hot tub for 30 minutes, I lose a pint of bodily fluid. So, I mean, that sounds terrible, but that
Remind me to never get in your hot tub.
Yeah. So, like, if you're somebody that doesn't work out, maybe sodium would be a bigger concern. But for me, like, that doesn't bother me at all. And one of the other things I do, this is really going to shock you, I have about 7 different flavors of popcorn seasoning, all of which are chemical and 0 calories. Ooh. So I have, like, jalapeno cheddar, I have kettle corn, I have all different flavors. And I always add popcorn seasoning as well. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, I will bring you some popcorn seasoning that will change the way you live.
Send me the
ranch
link
flavored.
to that.
Yeah. So yeah, I used to have a picture of all of them lined up, and it was Season's Greetings. It was my holiday.
I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
You're so clever.
Yeah, thank you. So I want your honest opinion. Now I've given all of these excuses. It's not going to be as good as it would if I made it. End of note. I do not remove it and put it in human adult dishware. I leave it exactly in that stupid little tray.
Just like I'm eating it.
Yes.
And,
go ahead.
And I'll just it's a plastic tray. Obviously it'll be on the Instagram. It's like your grandmother's casserole if your grandmother lived in her car. It's just like this is it's
oh my God, that's so sad. A grandma in her car making casseroles.
Yeah, come for dinner, baby. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna try
Get in the back seat.
Yes, we're gonna do 2 bites, and I promise I will be honest about this.
Oh, it looks so good from here. By the way, this entire room smells like a high school cafeteria.
It does. First bite down, I'm gonna give it a second bite.
He hasn't thrown up yet.
No, and I'm not gonna eat on the podcast anymore, but we will do this one more bite.
I mean, he's not taking small bites, you guys. He's like really giving it a shot.
Okay.
It's delicious.
I wanted to make fun of it. I really did, Corinne. I wanted to make fun of it, but it's obviously there's a ceiling.
They know what they're doing.
This can be.
Mm-hmm.
But this is as good as it can be. And for somebody that doesn't cook, somebody that's figured out a way to make it taste good, and obviously keep the calories kind of close to where you want them to be. Corinne, I must say this is pretty damn good.
Thank you.
Corinne,
I know.
you just converted me.
I mean, you guys, when I come here, 90% of the time he's prepping some meal or he's marinating something.
Yes,
I'm
like
always
to cook.
like, oh, you're out of your mind. That's so much time.
I got a wok.
You have an air fryer. You have like all the things.
Yeah.
I don't have anything.
And see, I'm almost kind of the reverse of you. I ate too much fast food because, before I was a talk show host. I was full-time comic, especially early in your career. You're broke, you're on the road.
Yes.
And like, there's nothing between Chicago and Des Moines. There's nothing except a Wendy's that's attached to a gas station or a Subway that's inside the gas station. Not down with that. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of Wendy's. And I don't know. I think I said it on the podcast. My tax guy one time said to me, "Do you know how much Wendy's you ate early in my career?" He was like, "Do you under like thousands of dollars Wendy's spicy chicken sandwiches to the point where I don't eat them anymore because it was a low level addiction."
Oh.
And so like I haven't, but I'll probably only have maybe one a year now, where it's probably 2 a day for a couple of years.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I could
It's
see.
a lot.
I mean, I was broke in college, obviously, but I just I would make a bag of popcorn, fat-free. I would split the bag in half. Half of it, I would put fat-free American cheese on, and then I would microwave it. And then the other half, I would put Splenda and cinnamon on, and that was the dessert. You see, it went both ways.
What? No, now, first of all, anything that goes both ways in college, I'm here for. But honestly, now we'll give us a price point. Now, how do you buy these? Do you buy them by the case?
No, it was like Pop Secret, and now they make 100-calorie versions. Back then they didn't. Mm-hmm. So it was a big enough bag that I didn't like.
No, I mean the Lean Cuisines.
Oh, the Lean Cuisine. Sorry.
Like, how much do they cost? What is this box of?
Interestingly, it's not that cheap. So in Denver, it's reasonable. It's like between $4 and $5. But when I lived in New York City, they were like $7. They weren't even like a good price break. Like for the same $7, I probably could have gotten a pre-made sandwich or I don't know, something else.
You could have got lunch at a Thai place that's got a B rating.
Yeah.
It's always bad when they have to put that B in the window,
oh, God,
and then you still go in there so you know where you are in life. You're like, I don't care. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? The mop wasn't put away right? Who cares? It's fine. As long as they can make broth.
In New York, that means there are rats fucking in the soup.
Exactly. Yeah, we can't close them down technically, but we're putting y'all on notice. They're gross in here. So the Lean Cuisine gets in. I'm going to give it an A-.
Wow. And that's not even the best one.
And as a former middle school teacher, not a lot of A-. A lot of D-. You know why? Because that means you're not coming back to my class next year. Yeah. When if your kid gets a lot of D-, it doesn't mean they're doing just enough to get by. It means that they're failing, but their teacher is like, I don't want them back in the 7th grade.
Face in my class
yeah,
again. Good
luck in the 8th grade. Yeah, that's what's going on. So we're going to chalk this up as a win for Lean Cuisine. Who thought, and while we're talking about this Valentine's Day, it's a weird time of year for me. First of all, it was always weird after I was no longer married because I kind of didn't know what to do. My ex-wife didn't care about Valentine's Day, so it wasn't a big deal. And
Did she really not care, or she just said she didn't care?
She didn't care. That wasn't her thing. She wasn't she's from Indianapolis, like she's not.
I thought you were going to say India.
No, so like
they don't celebrate Valentine's Day in
India.
India.
Salt of the earth, Midwest. She's like, I don't need that, bro. Mm. You know what I'm saying? Like some women, and first of all, I think Valentine's Day is kind of a whack holiday anyway, in that like, oh, this is when the government tells me I need to show affection towards you. I think that's weird. Just give me something.
I agree. Growing up, my father made a very big point of he would bring gifts home for my mom or flowers home for my mom, like all throughout the year. I mean, my parents, if I haven't talked about this enough, I will. My parents are like madly in love. They've been together since they were 14. Yeah, they don't do anything without each other. My mom picks out my dad's outfit every day. They're very, very attached. Very codependent. But nevertheless, my father would come home with like diamond earrings for my mom on a random Tuesday, and he'd be like, you see, I love your mom, and I don't think I need a special day or an occasion to buy her or bring her something. And he would do the same for me. He would buy me nice things as well. But he started when I was a kid doing grand gestures for Valentine's Day for me. And so he was like, I'll always be your Valentine, and when the right guy shows up, I'll gladly step aside. And the cards have gotten increasingly like, hey, it's getting exhausting. And so he's stuck. I am years old, and he has to keep doing this every year.
He still does?
Yes, and he comes up with very elaborate, really wild, crazy gifts.
Anything this year?
I will be getting a Valentine's Day gift.
I can't wait.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what was so... I really, it's so hard to explain these things. A few years ago...
We got time, baby.
I really have always wanted to own a monkey.
Okay.
I'm really, really into monkeys. I've always been like, it's in my Bumble profile. Like, I don't want kids, but I will own a monkey one day. And so he got me, I'll have to bring it in. It looks like a real monkey, Like it has human hair on it.
I don't like that.
It's really alarming looking. It looks like a baby chimp.
Okay. Chimps are vicious, by the way.
Yeah, I know they'll eat your face off.
They really will.
It's very cute. I'm doing this no justice. I need you to see it because it's so wild.
Okay.
Yeah, but he does really like outrageously awesome gifts every year.
Well, I guess shout out to that.
Yeah.
He the reason I hesitated because it's like as a girl dad, I really respect your dad. I love what he did, but what I think he did consciously / subconsciously is he set the bar so high.
Yes.
Because if you're talking about elaborate gifts from a man of means, what am I gonna look like? I'm gonna be like, this is a matchbook from the first place we went, and you'll be like, get out of here, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you not do sentimental?
I do. He spends like 6 months picking the gift out. Like, according to my mom, it's like a huge stress on him every year.
That's a stress on me just hearing that.
Yeah. But I mean, I love the claw machine. And so years ago, he got me a mini claw machine. Like he
got you. Mm-hmm. Do you still currently own this?
No, I gave it away when I moved from LA.
Oh no.
I know. But all the gifts he gets are wild. They're all incredible. So yeah, they're very thoughtful. And this year, I have a gift. This is the first year I've gotten him something. I was yipped up on Ambien, and I purchased a picture. It looks...
Wait, no, you purchased a picture from where?
I guess Pinterest. I've never used Pinterest before. Yeah, Pinterest. I'm like a vendor on Pinterest. And I had to give them...
Sounds promising.
Yeah. The height, the weight. I had to pick out the T-shirt I'm wearing, the T-shirt he's wearing. And we'll put this up on the Instagram. But it's definitely supposed to be a couple, not a mother or a father-daughter situation.
It's a strange photo.
Yeah. And so I wrote to my favorite Valentine and my most consistent, which is also fucking creepy. Again, I was really high on Ambien.
That's the way AI would translate like how human beings love. This is what you say.
And because I am technically like an inch taller than him, and I gave them our actual height, I am towering a little bit over him, and my arm is around the trunk of his body. Like, it's weird. Well, we'll see how I originally told my mom, like, hey, I ordered something. I can't stop it. It's in the mail. Like, I got the confirmation. I didn't, obviously.
That sounds like you ordered, like, a Klan outfit.
Yeah.
The way you prepped your mom, like, look, this is not how I feel. All right, I was on Ambien. It was cheap.
Yeah. So
I needed some sheets.
I called my mom and I was like, look, something's coming in the mail in 5 to 7 days. Please just throw it directly in the trash. I'm so embarrassed.
You know she's not. She can't now.
She thought it was sweet. And I was like, okay. Also, don't put it up anywhere because I don't think it's as endearing as you think it is. So we'll find out. We're recording this the week before Valentine's, though you guys are going to hear it the week after Valentine's.
Yes.
So more to follow. But you've gotten some strange artwork.
I have. The first one I want to show you isn't strange. It's actually, it was very sweet. A fan of our show emailed me, I would say maybe a year into COVID. And I'm on the couch, as everybody was. And it just said, hey, hello, Mr. Jackson. I'm a big fan of the show, big fan of you. My show, Daily Blast Live. She's like, I watch you every day. They're in the state of Georgia. Shout out. And she was like, I'd like to paint a portrait of you. And I was like, okay, and I didn't know if this was going to be like one of those big ones that like when you walk into a rich person's house and they're sitting in a chair.
That's what I have.
You have one of those?
I have a 60 by 48 that I commissioned up myself. Yeah.
Oh my God.
How do you not know this?
Well, this is what I thought I was getting. And but I honestly, I didn't know what I was getting. And, your mind wanders because I've had another painting done of me early in my career, probably 10, 12 years ago. This guy that used to come to this comedy club all the time in Illinois, he was like, I want to paint a picture of you. And he was like, it's done. Would you like to see it? And obviously this will be on the Instagram as well. I'm going to show it to Corinne after I show her the first picture. So Corinne, the portrait arrived. Mm-hmm. She emailed me maybe 2 months ago after not hearing anything when she initially said, I'm going to paint. So I was like, okay, that was a nice thing. She forgot about it. She did not.
No.
And Corinne, I want you to, you can step away from the podcast for a second. Grab the photo or grab the portrait.
Yes.
and
I got it now,
talk to the
guys.
people and
So-
tell everybody what they're looking at while I find my other picture.
So I don't watch anything other than murder documentaries. This is Squid Game?
Yes, it's me and I'll also post a picture of this. I was, our show gets a costume company to come through
for Halloween?
and so I was Squid Games for Halloween
that
2
makes
years
more
ago.
sense.
I was Will Smith this year. So that's
Okay.
what you're looking at.
And then there's like a little mask that you can take off that has a magnet. And then
And what's underneath that mask?
Wayne Brady? Someone else?
Oh,
You know what I think it is I never see you without glasses. I feel like she made a choice here.
yeah.
But
Yes.
I guess you wouldn't be wearing glasses under Squid Game's helmet thing. I don't know enough about Squid Games.
Right. Yes, but it's an interactive
Yes, it is.
portrait.
is.
And you can remove the mask, and I know y'all are like, well, how do you take the mask off? Easy, I'll tell you. All you have to do is move it because she put a magnet behind the portrait and on the mask. So it's kind of dope. I love it. Thank you so much.
I wondered if this is the medium she works with, like it's always something is magnetic. Color me interested.
I mean, look, for what I thought I was walking into, it was a really sweet gift, and it turned out, I feel like, really well.
Yeah, that's very kind. I wonder if she would make me one with like my top comes off. Is it possible?
I don't think so. She seemed like a church-going woman, and I think just the mere asking of that question may get me too'd. But you know what? So we're gonna leave that. But somebody will do it.
You know those games where like the naked lady games?
The video poker
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
The touch screens.
Yes.
At dive bars.
Yes.
Where there's always a sad,
Yes.
broken dad in the corner. Yes. No matter what's happening in the bar, he's just like, his back is turned to. It's like you went to a bar to turn your back on everything that's going on there and touch pictures of a naked lady. It's like Highlights magazine, but for scumbags.
I had a best friend for many years who really liked playing. She was a girl. She really liked playing those. That's the only reason I know what that is.
Maybe that's that Highlights hangover.
Yeah.
And speaking of terrible things like a hangover, the first portrait of me was not as wonderful and lovely as the one that we just discussed. And Corinne, I'm going to hand this to you now. This was painted of me, and I just want you to tell the people what you see.
Oh God! Oh no! Okay. It's all teeth. It's just horse teeth. I mean, the teeth are going far back into like almost to your ear. All right. The outfit. I mean, the face is just fucked. Nothing about this. I mean, you have no neck. You have no chin. You have a lot of neck actually. Severely balding somehow.
Severely balding.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think. I'm looking at. He has a perfect hairline. Why do you have a horseshoe male pattern baldness situation?
And that was like 12 years ago. Wait, and it's an Instagram. So what year was that done? Or at least did I post
2018. You posted it.
Okay, I think that was made in like maybe 2012.
This is the I don't. This I would frame.
That I think we might need to. And for the record. Corinne, please read the caption that I left underneath that photo.
Okay, he wrote, TBT to that time when I apparently asked a fan to draw me as a man that must remain 500 yards from schools at all times.
Don't I look like a molester?
Yeah, you sure do.
It was a little terrifying, but you know what? Two people took the time out to make a portrait of this face that's not really portraitable, and I appreciate that.
Meanwhile, I paid somebody. I
want to get a mini copy of that in the studio. We need that.
You can. He is not cheap.
Okay. So I'd like to get a photo of that in the studio.
We can do that. We can do that for sure. And actually, I had a podcast patron do a like a computerized design of me and my alpaca off of a picture, and I have that framed in my apartment as well. And I have 3 portraits of myself. This is real. And the third one is it's me as like a stick figure, a cartoon naked cowboy with 2 guns, 1 gun in each hand,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes. So I like to prepare people when they come in that,
Why have I not been to your place yet?
If you're
We got to do
I know.
that.
Because you guys, his studio is here. And so I'm here so often
That makes
it's
sense.
like, okay, so we will eventually. You'll come
Eventually, it'll make sense.
And also, we both have hot tubs, which can I please get to? Okay, I have been teasing this. Like, this is going to only take me 2 seconds to tell. But
we got time.
So my dermatologist, do you remember a couple weeks ago I told you guys I had to get biopsied because I have had this like tiny red dots on my stomach for like 4 years. They got much worse when I was wearing an ace bandage around my stomach for the Amazing Race to hold my mic pack, which was like irritating it. But it never went away. And I just was like, what is this? And so she keeps, like derms do, just gives me arbitrary creams and steroid ointments and nothing helps. Right. And so I was like, just biopsy it. Just do the thing. So she does. And I'm not expecting anything back. Like, I'm expecting, some derms have been like, oh, it's probably sun damage, There's like no real. And so I get a phone call from the office and they're like, we have your biopsy results. And I'm still preparing for them to be like, and it showed nothing. Even my primary care doctor, I told her I got biopsied because I've been bitching about it to her for 4 years.
Right.
She goes, they're not going to find anything. I have a diagnosis.
Okay.
They were like, you have Grover's disease. And I was like...
From Sesame Street?
So this is the best part. So I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Great. Like now I can solve it. So I said to the person on the phone, I said, okay, what is the treatment for Grover's? This is very exciting. Like I plan on Googling this. I have a million doctor nurse friends. My brother's a doctor. Like can't wait to get in deep into whatever this is. And she's like, so it's going to be the same steroid cream that you've been on for 4 years. And I was like, what? Why the fuck did you biopsy me if you knew that was the only thing I could come back positive for? That's what she said when she was biopsying me. And this is what gets interesting. She told me it might be Grover's. And then she told the assistant to put in the description to test for Grover's. So I knew that's what I was being tested for.
Right. And she knew that's what you had because that's all they do all day is look at Grover's disease.
No. So here's the problem. If you knew that the only treatment for Grover's is the shit I'm already on, why did you bother? What was the point of that?
Boo.
Yeah.
It's all it is.
And now I have a scar on my stomach to accompany the red dots.
Right.
Anyways, so I Google it. First and foremost, Grover's disease only happens in men over 50. So let's start with that. It is an elderly man disease. I don't even fuck elderly men. There's no way. And it has no known cause. It's not bacterial. It's not fungal. It's not autoimmune. They have no idea. It mostly happens in bedridden people.
You are far from that.
I am also not bedridden. And then here's where it gets good. Many cases have occurred in men who use hot tubs. Fuck my life.
Yeah, that's called the dirty old man with some money disease.
Well, I'm concerned. So they the thing that makes it exacerbates it are hot tubs. And I have a hot tub that I get in every night. And I am not going to get in my hot tub.
You also have a hot tub that you had helicoptered.
Choppered in.
Yes. So you're going to use that damn hot tub no matter what.
Of course. In fact, when I told my mom, she's like, I guess you're just going to live with Grover's. And I was like, I'm going to start a march. We're going to find a cure.
I love this.
Yeah.
And it's just like for people that have... people that have leveled up in life. This is the kind of diseases you guys should strive for. Yeah. All right? Yeah. Sorry about your malnutrition. Come see me with this Grover's disease.
I just want to say that, I'm here breaking glass ceilings. Women don't get this. I managed to get it.
I broke through the glass ceiling and into a hot tub.
Yes.
Be like me.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Let's start the GoFundMe.
The first dollar's coming from me. I just, first of all, the name is hilarious.
I know.
Only you would get a disease that's got a funny name. The rest of them are like, oh no, that's going to be, it's like when you hear like Hodgkin's, you're like, that just sounds like something real bad. But like Grover, you're like, I would let my kid have that. Yeah, that's awesome. Uh-huh. All right. So tell me other good things. Any good, do you have any, I feel like I got Valentine's Day date stories, but I feel like you were put on this planet to have Valentine's Day stories.
So Lord knows I never have a Valentine, but I did.
You have your dad.
I have my dad. I did have, in college, I had a long-term boyfriend who did have to get me a Valentine's Day gift. And he went to Victoria's Secret, and he got me a bra and underwear. The bra was an extra small, and the underwear was an extra large. And I was like, how did you describe me to the lady that was helping you? Like a pear?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do this?
Like Al's ideal woman.
It was the meanest. It was before my boob job, and it wasn't totally inaccurate, but like, come on, I don't wear an extra large bottom.
And at least, bro, take the tag off. Something where it's like, you're like, oh, I don't know what size this is, baby. You're not going to go follow up. You'd be like, did they fit?
No, the bottom was like a diaper. No, extra large in Victoria's Secret World is like extra large. The top fit fine.
Okay.
The bra was an A, and that was appropriate.
And if you don't mind me asking, what did you move up? What did you level up to?
34C.
Oh, that's a good size.
It is.
Yeah, that's a nice, life manageable size.
You know, when I went in to get my boobs done, I wanted a full B, and the doctor refused. He was like, I don't put somebody under to make them a B.
Wow.
And also, I mean, he was out of Miami, and this is in the era, of tickle bitties. It would be ridiculous, but I was trying to be subtle, and he was like, trust me, you're going to wish they were bigger even when I give you the C. And ever since I got them, I have still always worn padded bras. So you always want more.
If you could do it over again, what size would you go to?
I would go, I could do it over again. I'm not gonna, but I could. Eventually they'll pop. I've got a mammogram in a month. Could destroy them then. I would probably go like a smidge bigger. Like I forget 225 cc's in each. This is how small I was to begin with. I would maybe like do 230 or 250. Like I would go not a whole size necessarily, but a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but you're happy at the size you're at.
Yeah. I mean, listen, anything's better than where it came from.
There we go. That's what a great way to look at it. All right. Well, yeah. We started talking about Valentine's Day, and I had this weird, like we were in my kitchen. You said it. It's like I had this flashback to this weird Valentine's Day date I had. It was a blind date. This is almost pre-internet. No, there were apps, but they were still kind of like stigmatized. People like, what are you doing on a dating app? There's killers on there. It's like, there's not.
No, especially not back then because you had to pay for them.
Right. There's like receptionists and single moms and, dudes that are looking for somebody. And so I went on what I call a free-range date. I did not know this person, blind date. And I picked her up, and she looked amazing.
Oh, that's nice.
Came out of the crib like she had her own house.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I picked her up, and I was just like, I think I'm watching my wife walk towards me. Look, Al likes some thick.
Yeah.
Black man over here. Thick thighs, hips, like little skinny waist. Probably the size breasts that you were talking about, or a little bit bigger. Cute face. Got in the car. Well, if I got out of the car because I was trying to be a gentleman, open the door. So I walked up to her and I gave her a hug, and she hugged me back. And Corinne, there's always a little voice, even when you don't want to hear it, but you still hear it. And in my head, I just go, "Did I just smell something?"
Oh no.
That was the only thought. It wasn't like, "Oh my God, I'm not playing this story." It was just that little, because I'm like, if I am charming enough on this date, like this is the kind of woman that I want to walk into the policeman's ball with. Like, she looked great, The
policeman's ball.
And so I've never been to a police, but I bet you they get hammered in there.
Yes.
Ooh, Lord.
That's somewhere you're gonna have to drink the rum and Diet Coke.
Oh yeah.
They're not having top shelf.
But it's just all Jack and Cokes down there with the cops. But so I'm like, whatever. A gentleman opened the door, shut it, and just in the time it took me to walk around from the front.
She stunk up the whole car. Wait, you're going to have to be more specific.
I shut that door. I walked around the back, and you called it, Corinne. Just in that second and a half, 2 seconds, I opened the door, and it smelled like how when we took this lean cuisine out of the microwave upstairs, it didn't stink. It just smelled like... You know what she smelled like? She smelled like if you worked out at 5 a.m, didn't shower, put your clothes on, went to work, and then came home, sat on the couch, and then like she just smelled like all day sweat funk. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, you smell like a locker room. She smelled like a locker room that would be at like a high school that closed 10 years ago.
Yeah,
where she's got that stale, sad mildew smell. And I was still just like, look, I was like, she's fine, whatever. I'm trying, and I'm like,
throw
driving.
Her in the bath.
She's digging me. I'm digging her. We're talking, and then like, I had to like hit that hit that window, and she didn't notice. So we like went to where we were going, and it was better because I was just letting the funk out. And I know in my mind I knew she was funky because I left the window cracked when we went into the restaurant.
Oh my God!
Because the car had to air out.
To give it time. Well, did she stink up the whole restaurant?
She didn't stink the restaurant up, but I took her home. She funked my car up on the way home. And she was so fine. I took her on a second date.
Oh no!
And I told my homeboy, I was like, I have to give her a second chance. Maybe that was just a bad day. Maybe the scenario I laid out is what happened. She's busy all day, and like sometimes, maybe she's working in the yard or something.
Sure.
And she got in that car for the second date, and I was like,
again,
it's over.
Yeah.
It was the same smell.
Yeah, that's not.
So you know what her sheets smell like in her house.
That's my bigger concern is that she's not like cleaning her towels properly, and like
that's
she's
what it smelled
wiping
like.
herself with like a mildewy towel. Like organically, she shouldn't smell unless she's like, I don't know, ingesting a lot of fish oil or like there would have to be I feel like because you have to think that if she's going on a date, she's gonna get ready before the date. Right.
I know. And she liked me too. So the second date for sure, she was dialed up even more. And she looks fine the first time. Like and the thing is, I was like, she was so fine. I was asking myself, can I get past this?
Yeah, of course. I would be doing the same thing.
But I couldn't. Have you ever had a funky dude?
Yes. Not too long ago, I went out with this guy and he was very tall. Obviously, but he was like 6'9", and we live close to each other. We go out. The first time we hang out, I realized, okay, so first and foremost, he had long hair, and I was like, hey, dude, in your photos, you don't have long hair. He had my hair. And I was like, in your photos, you have normal hair. I'm looking at you and you don't. And he's like, well, pandemic, no one's cutting their hair. And I was like, I cannot possibly date somebody with the same hair as me. It's an unacceptable thing. It's not like he had it in a bun. He had it down like he's an 80s rocker. I was like, there's a workable situation here. You could be attractive. Why would you do this? But he was just fearful during the pandemic of getting his hair cut. All right. But that's not the worst. So when I go to hug him, and I'm telling you, it took me 30 seconds before I bitched about the hair. When I hugged him, I thought he smelled like an aisle of Petco. He smelled.
Oh no.
He smelled distinctly like the inside of a pet store, and it was just. And I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Like I thought maybe it was like it's stuck in his hair or something, or maybe he had animals at home.
Right. You start making excuses for them.
You do.
Like a battered woman.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I thought, and also I'm very good at self-sabotaging. So I thought, maybe it's in my head. Maybe it's not a real thing. So I decide to go on a second date with him. Prior to the second date, I say, hey, I'm going to need you to get your hair cut or I'm not agreeing to see you again. And he's like, okay, like I was going to get a cut anyway. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, he really liked you then.
Mm-hmm. So I said, and I'm going to bring my friend this time. She's going to meet us for just a drink in the beginning. So I have my friend come with me. I show up. He hasn't cut his hair. And I was like, and he's laughing. I'm like, that's not funny. That's not funny at all. And I tell my friend Kelsey, I'm like, get real close and see if you smell. I brought her as the smell check.
Right, because you're like, maybe my sense of smell is off.
I have a very sensitive, like I can close my eyes and think exactly what a Petco smells like. I hate pets in general. I don't like dogs. I don't like wet dog smell. I don't like bird smell. I don't like any of that. And she was confused. She's like, I think he's really nice and he's really handsome and I don't smell anything. I was like, all right, you're done. All right, out. So I spend the rest of the evening with him. I'm slowly trying to like him. I realize what the smell is.
No.
It's not bad. I went to his house and I realized everywhere we went at all times, no matter what time of day, he was constantly ordering coffee.
Oh.
So not only is he ingesting coffee like every 2 hours, but his entire apartment smelled like coffee because he was constantly, like he works from home, he was making like espresso, and it was like a stale coffee smell, which other people might not think smelled bad. I just don't like that smell. So I identified it, and then obviously, what do you think I did?
You told him about it?
I told him fucking about it. And by the way, by the third date, guess where we went on the third date?
Coffee?
The fucking barbershop. I was like, cut that shit off. Yeah, so he cut his hair for me, but it was the third date.
How'd he look with the cut?
Oh, my God. He looked so good that I took a picture of him. I was like, this would be your new profile picture. And then I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I helping this guy? So he was extremely sweet. We started hanging out, and I am actually totally dating somebody else that was a dick at the same time. And I'm balancing the two of them, and I'm giving him very little. Like Valentine's Day came around, and I like, you know, what do you call sub message? What do you?
Subtweet?
Yes. But I put it on Instagram. I was like, you know, I don't need no man. It was meant for the dick guy. And the nice guy, Petco aisle, saw it and was like, I'm so sorry, I'm out of town. I didn't realize how important it was to you. Can I take you out this Saturday? And I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot you exist. Yes, sure.
Oh, wow.
So he was like in it to win it for like.
I feel sad now.
Oh, don't. For like 6 months, I am really half in, half out on dating him. The entire time, he kept telling me he was waiting. He's a huge bicycle guy, mountain biker, which I now know I will not date. And so the whole time, he's like, I ordered this bike from Finland, and because he's so tall, like it's custom made, and it's a $14,000 bike, and it arrives in garbage bags in pieces, and you have to put it together in like a bike shop. So like finally, after the whole time we were dating for like 6 months, he's telling me about this stupid bike, which I definitely don't care about. Well, when the bike gets there, he's like, he drops everything, takes 2 days off work, goes to a friend's barn, and like builds this bike, which again, for $14,000, I would kind of feel like it would show, it was just
maybe
nuts
you
and
guys
bolts.
handle that.
Yeah. So he builds this bike, all right? And right before this, I had introduced him for the first time ever to my work colleagues. Like we went out to a work dinner. Everyone brought their like significant others. I brought him out, and everyone was like, he's so wonderful, and he's very smart. He has a very good job. Everyone was so impressed with him, which made me like, all right, I'm gonna try and like make this work.
I like how you're thinking this 8 months into it.
Yeah. I finally got rid of like the dickhead guy.
To...
Yeah. Well, the dickhead guy got rid of me, so I was like, I guess I'm left with this one.
With a guy that just respects me and treats me well.
Okay. Well, Al, he built that bicycle, and then he never talked to me again. I was dumped for a bicycle. In fact, after a week went by and I hadn't heard from him, which was very odd. We live a couple blocks from each other. I was like, girl meets boy, girl likes boy, boy dumps girl for bicycle, LOL, what's up? He just never responds again. And if I may, yeah, Al's face during the story, this is all real. So one of my best friends is an acupuncturist, and she knows this whole story. And she gets very friendly with her patients and talks about their lives and stuff. And, you know.
Just say happy ending.
No.
I thought this was a happy ending acupuncture.
No. So she's got this beautiful girl that is in her, she's doing the needling on her. And they're talking, and she's like, oh, you know, how's it going with the dating? And she goes, not great. I've been dating this guy for a while. He's really into bicycling, and he went to a race in Mexico that he's been talking about for months and then never talked to me again. She's like, oh my God, was his name Dave? And the girl's like, yes. And she goes, Jesus Christ, it's the same guy. She's like, is he 6'9"? And she's like, yes, it's the same guy. So my friend, the acupuncturist, is like, this is going to sound crazy. And she said I could, patient confidentiality. She said I could tell you, I think you'd like this girl. And she tells me, and I go, yeah, send her my number. So now we hang out. And her and I go to drinks. I just saw her a week ago.
Get out of here.
Yeah, neither of us talk to him. And we both hang out.
So that's like his gift to the world. He ghosts women and they become friends.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. He also, I heard, recently got into a major accident on the bicycle.
Oh, and first of all, you guys can't tell because this is audio, but the smile on Corinne's face as you said that was pretty terrifying and beautiful at the same time.
Oh, I mean, I hope he's a paraplegic. I mean, I don't give a shit what happens to him. But yeah, it was, and she said to me the funniest thing, I'd never heard this expression before, and she has the same problem I do. She's actually way taller than me, and she's like, there's just so few tall guys. She goes, but just because there's a drought, Corinne, you don't have to drink the salt water.
Oh my goodness.
She's like, don't drink the salt water.
That sounds like something Gandhi would say.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, he was salt water. Yeah.
What? But I just thought of a problem. You guys are friends, but you both like tall guys. You clearly like the same guy. Right. So can you hang out together?
Yes. Okay. So that is true. And I will say one of my favorite things about my best friend Joyce is that she's Filipino. And so we would always hang out. And it was like either you like her or you like me. Either you're into tiny Filipino women or you're into curly-haired Jews. Like we weren't the same market.
That's not how men work at all.
Well,
okay.
We felt like we had enough diversity.
Either? Cool. Okay. As long as it's not neither. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so she covers that we look too similar, I think, but she's got a boyfriend. So
now you guys can hang.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I would just think there'd be some low level hating. Like I used to hang out with my boy Ronnie, and like I said, I like thick girls, and he was the first man I'd ever met where he was like, I like waif chicks. And I was like,
Oh.
what does that mean? And he was like, waifish. And I was like, so what are we talking about weight-wise? And he was like, anything over 115 and I'm walking.
Oh,
I
my
prefer
God.
like 105.
Oh, my God.
And
That's such a difficult market, especially when the girls get older.
yes, but it's a great hanging buddy because we're never going after the same person.
Right.
He's like, wow, you're going after that sumo wrestler? She's like 135. I'm like, I know. I'm 155. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with a lot. Now, Corinne, we got to get to this.
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
No.
I don't want to forget to tell you because I have something that I have been dying to read to you because I need your opinion on this. Okay. So I swiped on this guy. Now, this is my process, right? Originally, I go right to on Hinge, scroll down to the height, right? If the height is cool, scroll up to the first picture, zoom in on the teeth. Are the teeth good? Like I look at the general,
Right.
I very rarely read. Reading whatever they wrote is that's like the 9th step. I'll often match with people and then read.
See, maybe it's on you. Maybe he said, we'll leave you once this bike is done. And you didn't even
And
get it.
I didn't even read it. So this person I matched with, I read this and I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and unmatch. But I would like to hear what you would think.
All right. I can't wait.
So the prompt is, the one thing you should know about me is, and he answers, don't take it personal when I don't want to have sex with you. I am asexual. That is just how it is. If that's something you think you can achieve, that you are special enough to be an exception, let me stop you there. Move on.
Oh, sounds like a ton of fun.
I mean, he's like, don't touch me. I won't be touching you. I am never having sex with you. You're not special. What a weird. So just say, go on Bubble Friends.
Yeah.
What
I was
are you
going to say,
doing?
aren't there companion apps for like, hey, I swear to God, I just want to work out with somebody?
And I got news for you. If this guy was like 10 out of 10 personality, hotness, and like he just, for whatever reason, is, as he puts it, asexual, I also, if I were going to date him, I would want people to think we were having sex. I wouldn't want him going advertising that he's asexual. And he sounds like the type of guy that's like, hi, I'm Alan. Nice to meet you. I am asexual. Like, it's like the second thing he says.
A badge of pride almost.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably super self-conscious of it because it's ruined so many relationships because he wasn't forthright. So now he's taken this weird, it's kind of like, if you have something going on with you physically, like you have a huge scar on your face or something, you're like, you make a whack joke, hey, you always want to date the real life Scarface or something. If you don't like this, because you're defensive, because your whole life people have been like, I'm not dating Scar, I'm not doing. So like, I feel like he's super defensive about his asexuality when he could have just been fun, like, hey, he could have said something funny like, aren't you tired of having great sex? Date me. You could say something fun and just be like, hey, I can be your companion friend.
I'm not saying that there are definitely asexual people out there, and I think there are probably there are apps for it.
Absolutely there are.
This isn't one of those, and I'm not sure how well he's doing on this app. It just was a very aggressive, like you could be like, I love to cuddle. He's making it sound like I need a roommate.
Yeah. Hey, this rent ain't gonna pay itself. You want to go out or what?
Did you just touch my arm? When we were in the kitchen, did you just touch my arm?
That's so weird.
I thought so.
Yeah, but also, here's the props that I will give this man. Terrible delivery, terrible introduction to the world. But I do appreciate the honesty. Yeah. I think one of the issues with my ex, the one that stole everything, is I think that she was borderline, I wouldn't say asexual. I know people be like,
the A stands for angry.
Yeah, angry and depressed, and but just not that interested. Some people are hypersexual. I got homeboys that are still in their 40s like me, and they're like, let's go get some girls, bro. And I'm like, Doug, we're at a barbecue for your daughter's birthday. Like,
we're at a baptism.
Some dudes are at a 10, but some people are at like not a 0, but they're at like a 2.5, and they know that they don't want to come across like your boyfriend whose app you just read.
Yeah.
And so they fake it for the first month or 2 or 3 to kind of get you in, but they're hating it. They're not that into it, but they're like, all right, I got to keep this dummy around. Mm-hmm. But then time goes on, they can't keep up with it because they don't want to be touched. They don't want to be penetrated or penetrate anybody. And eventually it just slows down. They start making up excuses why they can't do it. And it ruins relationships, and I'm sure that person is asexual can go, well, she was really, selfish, and she didn't take the. But it's like, no, she wanted to have sex and you didn't, and that was a constant source of issue. So at least he came out and said it, so he didn't waste 2 years of your life.
I would also venture to say that there's a percentage of, and I'm speaking out of turn because I'm not asexual and I don't want to, categorize the community, but in the world of men, there is, a lot of people walking around with low testosterone. There's, you should make sure everything is in check before, I guess, you go on a dating app and advertise that you shan't be getting any.
Yeah, I think that's honestly, I think the source of a lot of like YouTube male anger as well is low T, inability to perform and nervousness around women. So that just turns into hate because this thing you want so bad, you don't know how to get it. When you're approached by what you want, you don't know how to talk to it or to them or whatever. And it turns into like, let me tell you something about these chicks, bro. I just want to tell all those like YouTube, what do they call those, manosphere guys? They're like, I know like 12-year-old boys look at their things and be like, that's how it is. These guys, look, fellas, that is not field tested.
Yeah.
All right? Because all these, I've seen some of these videos because we do them for our show. You can be real tough when you're in a podcast studio. Yeah, hey, I'll tell you something, ladies. 3 things if you want to date me. 1, check your attitude at the door.
No drama.
Okay. All right, dog. Like, try that. And then you holler back at me when you want to learn how to discuss things with a human being that is also on this planet. Like, who do you think you're talking to, dog?
I've honestly been on dates with guys like that.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Like
borderline, the majority of like dudes are like, there's a weird thing. And let's get into some real. I learned early on that I'm fine looking. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Fine.
But I realized that I have a gift to talk to people and I can make people laugh on the spot. So being able to make a woman laugh and be engaging, it's enough. I hang out with, remember we saw like, we were looking at my picture the other day and you were like, who's this cutie? That's my boy, Marcus.
Hello, Marcus.
Yes. Everywhere we go, everybody's like, who is that man?
Yeah. That's what I said the second you made that video.
All my friends are super good looking, but I could always hang with them and I never got jealous because I was like, I got a superpower too.
Yeah.
As long as, if I can talk to you for 2 minutes, it's on, And so I think these guys, if you don't figure out your way into the world, you're going to constantly be on the outside because a lot of these guys are getting advice from men that came from a different time. Back when women used to date you, even though you're super whack, because women couldn't live on their own. Y'all are like maybe the second generation of women that could move out of the house without being married. And so the idea, well, my dad got my mom and she's way out of his league. That's over, bruh. These women make enough money. They don't need you. They don't need your attitude. They don't want to come home and watch you play Call of Duty when they want to go get sushi and come back home and have sex. They don't want that. And there's this weird battle between these two ideologies because everybody wants to go back to the way things were, and it's not happening. You need to adapt to this world where like your woman is going to be like my girl. The woman I'm dating now, she knows as much or more about sports than anybody I've ever met. The idea of like this woman baking cookies and having a scotch for you. What is this, Mad Men?
I'll have a scotch for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll make you a lean cuisine.
And a lot of dudes would be like, yo, this hot chick drinks scotch. Why, she got a hot tub. Like, don't yell at you, date you.
Yeah. I have I have a hard time. I think first and foremost, I can also make people laugh.
Yes.
And that becomes intimidating. Like, it's not so fun, I don't think, for the guy when I think, like, my text banter is, if I'm trying, it's very good.
Right.
It's very high level.
Agree.
And there's many men that are just like, oh, God, every time I have to text her, I think of something, like they can't really keep the ball in the air, which I don't mind. In fact, I like dating dummies. I mean, I had my favorite ex of all time. I mean, not favorite, but was illiterate, and I loved it. He couldn't read or write.
You told me about that guy.
He was great.
The first time that, first time we hung out, we met at that Happy Camper or whatever for my co-host's birthday, and I remember I showed up with my ex and was sitting next to you, and she already was like not feeling it. I could tell, which I was like, great. I'm around two women that are fun.
Yeah, because Tori's hysterical.
Tori's hilarious. Like, you were two of my favorite people in the world to hang out with because you're honest and just like you guys bust balls. And in that case, she was like the dudes you're talking about. She was like, what's all this laughing about?
Yeah.
Like she is like,
she was a real fun sponge, guys.
God. Oh, just like and it's like you can't have that personality unless you're like a 10. You have to be a 10 to get away with that. Where like, look, Corinne is terrible, but like just to have her at a party makes you look better. You know, she wasn't that, and I'm not that. But most people aren't that. But like, you cannot be like unpleasant. And I'm just you can't be unpleasant and be regular. Super 87 regular.
Yeah.
We're talking about gas here. So,
well, I wondered, one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about before we move into our voicemail section is I was talking to my mom on the way here, and we were talking about, I have a date this weekend with a guy that has a weird name. I'm going to leave the name out. Don't worry, I have a different person to reference. Because the guy I'm going out with, oh, by the way, happy Black History Month. I'm going out with a black man this weekend.
Oh, there we go.
Because I feel strongly I got to support during the month. So, anyway, he has a dumb name.
Do you just send him like a calendar with just days marked off, like 11 more days, buddy?
Yeah. This is your time to shine, and then we go back to, no.
This is your, The Blind Side.
Yeah.
A tall black man with this white woman.
Yeah. Okay, so I was talking to my mom about, bad names. Because I said to her, I was like, this is just a name that I just was like, it's one of those names we don't really like. It just so happens that when I was growing up, there was like a really schmucky guy that went to our temple that had this name. And like my brother and I made fun of it so incessantly. And it just happens to be this guy's name. So whatever. I'll get to this name once I'm not talking to him anymore in 2 weeks. But I was telling my mom.
Is it a name you can make a cool nickname from?
No.
Like my son's name is Bradford. We call him Ford.
No, I mean, Bradford's a cool last name. This is just a bad. It is a I think it is a nickname. It's just no one should go by it. Okay. But I said to my mom, she goes, "You've dated other."
Is it Jaime?
Jaime?
Yeah.
That's not a nickname. That's just a Hispanic name.
I thought that was a Jewish name.
Jaime?
Oh, I guess it is Jamie.
Yeah, it's Jamie for Spanish.
Oh. I didn't know what a dumbbell.
No, and by the way, it's not a Jewish name. It's just there happened to be a guy at our temple when we were kids that was named this. All right. So my mom was like, "Oh, you've dated way worse." And I was like, "Yeah." And then I thought to the worst first name of a guy I have ever been out with. It was also a terrible date, but the name is so strikingly awful. I'm going to tell it to you, and you tell me what you think. Okay. And I'm going to guarantee out in the podcast world, I will bet not a single person has this name because it's that bad.
Talk to me.
It's a man.
Okay.
And I got news for you. I almost didn't go out with him because of this name.
It's that bad?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm going to lose it.
We need to hear this name right now.
His name is Lori.
It sounds like my mom's friend from work.
It's spelled Lauri, like not Lori, Lauri. So I was like, all right, he's really attractive. It was a little bit of a drive to meet him where he wanted to meet because we live kind of far apart. And I just kept thinking, like, can I? And I thought, he's got to be foreign. And this is short for something else. So he shows up and he's handsome. He's a good looking dude. And he opens his mouth and he's like, "Hi, I'm Lori." And I realize he's not foreign. There's no accent. He's not foreign. We sit down immediately. You know me. Immediately, I'm like, "Is Lori short for something?" He's like, "No, it was my dad's name."
Why do you ask?
My grandfather's name. And I'm like,
I'm drying up down here, so that's why I ask.
What kind of weird lesbian name is this? Like, Lori? And no one has told you up until this point that it's a ridiculous. Go by L. Go by any variation.
Yeah. Oh, there's no way to make Lori.
No. I mean.
Lolo. That's what I have. Have the homies call me Lolo.
Whatever your middle name is, anything else. You had to have been picked last for dodgeball. You would have had your ass kicked all your life. If you're a dude.
Was he tall and athletic? Did he overcompensate?
He was. So wait. So we sit down. And he wanted to meet at this. It's a cute town, like in between like us and Boulder. And he's like, it was like a place that it was pretty bustling, and it was a high-end cocktail/dinner place. And so we were just going for, I guess, both cocktails and some bites to eat. And he sits down and he orders a Cosmo. And I was like, bro, you can't be named Lori and also order a Cosmo. Which, by the way, did you just see Sex and the City? Like, who? They're not good.
No,
who orders
not.
no,
That's a great
terrible.
point that no one makes. I think the name makes people think, oh, I've leveled up. Mm-hmm. I should be drinking this out of like a fancy glass. And it's like, it's sugar water. Man up and get a martini. And when I say man up, all genders, no matter how you identify, get a martini. The Cosmos are disgusting.
They're terrible. And when he ordered it, I said to the waitress, I was like, if you could go ahead and put that in a rocks glass. And he was like, oh, I like it in the martini glass. I was like, nah, I'm not sitting across from you with that. So anyway, the date begins, and I knew he had 2 kids. And I was like, hey, I wanted to understand his background a little bit. And so I said, so you live in, Longmont, whatever it was. And he's like, actually, I let my ex-wife we have, he goes, I do well, and she lives in a really nice house, but I wanted to downsize. So I live in a 1-bedroom apartment in this other city near Longmont.
He said that wrong. Her divorce lawyer wanted him to downsize.
Correct.
Yes.
So I go, okay, where do the kids sleep? And he goes, in the bed with me. And I'm like, are you Charlie in the Chocolate Factory? What the fuck are you talking about? The kids are like 7 and 9.
Oh, my God.
And they all sleep in the same bed when they have to stay with dad. Guess who doesn't want to go to dad's house?
Oh, my God.
So then I said to him, I was like, I just don't understand. He goes, listen, all I care about is my kids. That's all I spend my money on. And I was like, do they go to a private school? And he's like, no. And I said, what are you? He goes, but I take them to the trampoline park anytime they want. I'm like, you know what they probably really want? Their own beds.
That's right. Let's skip the trampoline park for a month, and let's get some beds in here, Jack. Yeah. Even an inflatable one. Kids love that. So, you got to do something, dog.
So then I go, oh, do you take them traveling? He goes, I hate traveling. And it's rare that you find somebody who's going to say, it's like saying I hate vacation. He goes, I hate traveling. I hate airports. I hate lines. I said, so what do you do? He goes, I like to stay home. And I'm thinking, this has gone from bad to worse. So then he says to me, he goes, well,
Lori
how about...
the shut-in.
So he goes, so now I put my drink order in, and I order Mezcal neat. And he goes, oh, do you drink a lot? And I said, we met for drinks. Was I supposed to get a Diet Coke? So I said, I like a glass of Mezcal pretty much every night, like watch the sunset from my hot tub. And he's like, you're not going to age well.
No, he did not. No, he did not. No, he did not. No, he did not. No.
Well, I'm a year older than you, and I'm holding it down all right. And he goes, my ex-wife had a drinking problem. And I said, oh, how much did she drink? He goes, well, I couldn't tell because it was a boxed wine. And I said, your ex-wife had a problem because she was drinking boxed wine. Right. Nobody's aging well if they're going through boxed wine. Also, how terrible were you that she's drinking boxed wine?
Let's figure out how you factor into this equation where a woman is going to cardboard to get messed up enough to have to sleep with you.
And he's like weighing, because you can't see it. It's not like a bottle that you can see, so he's got to pick it up and go, oh, it's like half empty.
And he did it every day, and just like he probably had some weird, because like a weird control guy like that, he probably weighed it and it's like, 14.8 ounces. It was 16.5 yesterday. Oh, you dirtbag.
So then he says to me, very, very seemingly rehearsed, he's like, what is your life goal? And I just off the cuff.
To be a guidance counselor like you. What are you talking about?
I said, so off the cuff, I said to be the host of a Dateline special and not the subject, which I thought was like witty and funny. It went right over his head. And I was like, he's asking because he wants to tell me what his is. So I said, what's yours? And he's like, to bench 405 pounds. And I'm very close. And I was like, I normally don't say this on dates, but I only have one ex in Denver. I do not publicly say his name or anything, but he was on the cover of Men's Health multiple times. He's in extremely good shape. And I said, and I don't really want to date somebody that is like that vibe. Like, his body is ridiculous. But my ex woke up at 4 a.m. every morning. He works out 3 times a day. He weighs what he eats. Like it's his whole entire thing.
It's how he makes his money.
Yes, it is. And so I said to him, like, I was trying to underscore that I actually very actively would rather date someone that doesn't have the best body but isn't going to annoy the shit out of me with their working out.
Right.
Like, I work out a lot, but not 3 times a day. And he said to me, he goes, can I see a picture of him? And I said, no, I don't do that. And he's like, well, am I hotter than him? And I'm like, were you on the cover of Men's Health?
Oh.
So, no. And he's like, well, I don't understand why I can't see a picture. I'll show you a picture of my ex-wife. I said, I don't want to see a picture of you. What is happening right now? I'm like, what date am I on? So I don't really know what to do. And I have said, we just did a whole thing about diet. I don't eat anything fried ever. Like there's really no, it doesn't matter how hungry I am. It's not happening. So I told him that. And also he's the one that's bragging about working out. He orders for both of us and he's like, we'll take the jalapeno poppers. He just orders a bunch of stuff I can't eat. So I'm starving. I'm not eating the fried pickles. I'm not eating the tater tots, whatever other garbage he ordered. So I'm just like, I got to get out of this state. So I was like, I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Now, this is a weird hang up I have from living in LA and New York. I don't take my purse if I'm going to the bathroom because I think it infers that I'm going to do cocaine.
Yes. And only people that do cocaine think that.
Yes.
Sorry. Big fact.
I understand it from the perspective of what used to happen in New York and LA. And I wanted to make sure there was no question that like, I'm not the person that's doing that. So I leave my purse on the table. Okay. Remember, it's a busy restaurant. It's during happy hour. I go to the bathroom. I get back to the table. He's gone. His jacket's there. He's gone. And my purse is just out in the wild. And I lost my fucking mind, Al. I am raised by 2 New York Jewish parents. You don't even leave your purse on the back of the chair because someone will grab it.
Leave a woman's
just
purse.
Left. And so he saunters back in. I get back to the table first. He saunters back over. I said, what the fuck did you just do? Why would you get up? If I said I had to go to the bathroom and left my purse, the implication is you're going to say, he goes, well, I had to go to the bathroom too.
Can you hold it till she gets back?
What are you, 5? And he goes, what are you making a big deal of? No one took your stuff. And I was like, honestly, I haven't even taken count of everything in my wallet. I don't even know that someone hasn't taken anything yet.
Yeah, and neither do you since you were gone.
Yeah. So anyways, I hated Lori. And I was like, he's like, well, what bar do you want to go to next? I was like, I'm going home. This date is over. And he's like, okay, well, I'd like to walk you to your car. And I just felt like there was it was too awkward to be like, no. Well, that was a mistake. He walks me to my car, and then I'm like putting my keys in the car, or not my keys. I have keyless entry, but I get to the door handle to open the door, and I push. There's like a little button right on the door that if your keys are on you, it opens. And he has now cornered me. He flips me around and starts making out with my face, like just all over my face. And I am not. First of all, I'm not somebody that would complain about assault or whatever. Like it's fine. We were on a date. He read the situation wrong, but I wasn't kissing him back. I was just like backing up. I couldn't go anywhere. I was like against my car door.
Well, he benches 405 pounds.
Yes, he does.
So much man.
And so he's like, I feel like I insisted on, I wanted to split the bill. He didn't let me split the bill. And he said to me, he goes, I really thought that we were going to have a second date. Is that not the case? And I was like, it's not the case.
And
can I Venmo you? Like, I don't know what to do. You've made this so awkward. I normally would always just like make nice and then just like ghost or block them. But I had no choice. He put me on the spot. And I wanted to be like, here's a PowerPoint presentation of all the reasons I will not go out with you again.
You should have just texted him that and then sent him a picture of your man. And
I mean, wait, let me ask you, Al, when I sleep over, are me, him, and the 2 kids sleeping over? Like,
no, but you know what? He'd be like, he ditched the kids that night, but there'd still be kid stuff. And like you guys would roll over, like you guys are making love and you just roll over. And then, it's just like a doll arm sticking out between the wall and the mattress. It's a huge turnoff. And you know what else might be a huge turnoff, but we're running so late on time, is we're going to have to get to our Yelp review and our email responses next episode because we're running so long. But for right now, I've been Al Jackson. This is
not Lori.
And you guys have been listening to My Safe Word Is More. Hit us up on the Instagram. If you have any email advice that you might need, you can find us at
mysafewordismoreadvice@gmail.com. Please rate and review the podcast. We love good news.
That's right. And puff of smoke. We are out.
Love you guys. Bye.